Hi everyone, it's Marianne. Welcome to my Wasteless Life. In this video, I'll be sharing with you how I propagate pups in Vermiculite. Thank you so much for joining me today, and if you're new, this is my Wasteless Life, where I take you along my plant and sustainable lifestyle journey and share with you some of my tips and tricks along the way. As part of my propagation series, today I'll be sharing with you how to propagate pups in Vermiculite. Pups are essentially the baby plants produced by our houseplants. Not all houseplants produce baby plants, but a lot of them do, like the alocasias, the snake plants, a lot of different varieties and types of succulents, the spider plant, for example, and also the Pilea peperomioides, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot more. And personally, I find that it's a lot easier and I have a lot more success in propagating pups or baby plants as opposed to propagating leaf cuttings from our houseplants. And I have propagated in many types of soilless mediums, from sphagnum moss, cocoa coir to perlite. I actually see perlite gaining a lot of traction as a propagating medium. And I've been using perlite as my propagation medium for quite a while now, and I do highly recommend it, especially for my Hoya kerrii. But to be honest, it is not my go-to medium when it comes to propagation, and in previous videos I have discussed the downsides of propagating in perlite. And Vermiculite, it has been popular medium for indoor seeding, so I think it will also be a good medium to try out for our houseplant propagations, especially for the pups or the baby plants. But first, let me thank the sponsor of today's video, Spider Farmer. Spider Farmer sent me their Grow Light, the SF600, for me to test and give my honest review on. And I just received the product, so let's unbox it together. So this is what it looks like inside the box. And it comes with this brochure, which I think is also the manual. It contains the specifications of the Grow Light. It has a highlight output with 5,000 lumens. And as I take it out of this box, this Grow Light is not heavy at all. It is very light. It uses Osram diodes with 384 LEDs, so it only draws about 75 watts. So it has very low consumption, which is great. And this is the Sunlight Full Spectrum Grow Light with a 120-degree beam angle. So you can definitely put a lot of plants and a lot of propagations and seedlings under these Grow Light. And it has a 50,000 hours lifespan. So it does comes with a cord and adapter and also some hardware to help you hang it up. But let's go ahead and test it just to make sure that the Grow Light is working. And so this one goes on this side, and I'll just have to plug it in. And there you go. Ooh. And because it has LED lights, it doesn't heat up at all. It doesn't emit a lot of heat, or barely at all, to be honest. I can't even feel it become hot. And yeah, so I'll be installing this Grow Light later on in this video and use it for my propagations. And make sure you watch until the end to find out how you can win an SF600 Grow Light from Spider Farm. Kind of like perlite, Vermiculite is used as a soil amendment to help with drainage and to increase aeration of our soil mix. But while perlite is very airy, dusty, and very porous, Vermiculite holds a lot more water and nutrients, which makes it a little bit ideal for propagation, in my opinion. When propagating in perlite, you really have to be on top of the watering and the moisture level of your propagation, because when it comes to propagations, we can't really let them dry out the way we let our houseplants dry out before we actually water them. So with Vermiculite, I think it will be a lot easier to maintain the moisture level in our propagations without watering it too often, but also worry about oversaturating it, which sometimes also happens when I use sphagnum moss. I'll be propagating pups from my spider plants and my Pilea peperomioides. Starting with the spider plant, the spider plant has a unique way of growing its babies compared to other plants. Once the plant is mature, it grows the stem or vine, and that's where the baby pups grow, which makes it very easy to separate the pups or the baby plants from the mother plant. All you have to do is cut off the vine or the stem where the baby plants are growing, and then separate each of the baby plant from the vine by just cutting it as close to the root ball as possible, and they're ready for propagation. You can use any nursery pot or container. I would recommend something though that doesn't have large drainage holes, because I find that Vermiculite, especially when dry, they just go through the drainage holes, which is why I also prefer to pre-moisten the Vermiculite like I do with my potting soil, so that it's a little bit more compact and doesn't go through the drainage hole as I fill up the container. And to propagate the pups is very easy. As you can see, I'm just making holes in the Vermiculite and sticking the spider plant babies in there. And if you missed me doing it the first time because it was so quick and easy, no need to rewind, here it is again. And now I'll be bottom watering these propagations. I technically don't really need to water them since the vermiculite is already pre-moistened, but I want them to absorb the water that contains the root and grow solution so that it could grow roots faster and also have some nutrients to help it grow. And next, we're going to be propagating pups from the Pilea peperomioides. As you can see, this one has grown so many baby pups. A lot of them are actually already overgrown, and this plant grows pups like crazy. So it's such a fun plant to have. And to take out the baby plants from this plant, you could just dig in your finger into the soil and remove the baby pups that way. But because this one is already overpopulated with baby plants and some of them are overgrown and likely already grown their own roots, I decided to remove the whole thing out of the pot so I can separate it that way. And those overgrown pops that already have established roots, I could just pot them directly into soil. And the baby pups that doesn't have roots yet, those are the ones that I'll be propagating in vermiculite. And as you watch me separate the pots from each other, I just want to talk a little bit more about the benefits of using vermiculite as a propagation medium. So when you are propagating plants that are on the wetter side and would need to be evenly moist all the time, then I would opt for vermiculite as opposed to perlite. And if you're also seeding, vermiculite is perfect for that because it protects seedlings against damping off and other fungal diseases. But the times that I wouldn't recommend using vermiculite is when the plants that I'm trying to propagate would like to stay on the drier side. So this is the perfect opportunity to use perlite instead of vermiculite when propagating those type of plants. And those type of plants are usually your desert plants, your succulent and succulent-like plants, even some of your epiphytic plants, your cacti, and even some of your Hoyas. So any of your plants that require a lot of drainage and aeration, I would use perlite as opposed to vermiculite when propagating them. But in general, I would prefer using vermiculite over perlite when propagating houseplants, even for my houseplants when mature don't like getting wet or like to stay on the dry side like my pothos plants. When propagating them, I would still choose vermiculite over perlite. But let's say for my string of hearts or any string of plants, I would probably go with perlite instead of vermiculite. So now that I have propagated the pups in vermiculite, I'm now going to put them in my propagation station and monitor the growth. But before I do that, I want to show you how I set up and install the Spider Farmer SF600 Grow Light. And you can set up the grow light in many different ways. You can hang it in your plant shelf or put it in your grow tent or indoor greenhouse, or you can hang it from the ceiling or a clothing rack. I initially hang it from my curtain rod to give light to my bright light loving plants on a very cloudy day, and they loved it, and I think that's a setup that I might do for them again come winter time. But for now, I'm using the SF600 Grow Light on my propagations as well for some of my seedlings that I'm trying to grow for my outdoor garden. So I'll be installing it on a clothing rack with the makeshift propagation station, and honestly, it's a lot easier to install the grow light as opposed to creating this propagation station. So let me show you very quickly how I did it. Spider Farmer includes the hardware to hang this grow light, so that's what I'll be using. So with this end, with this tiny one, you just screw it on top over here, and you will have this entire cord with this lock on this side, and you do the same for the other side. So same thing, this lock, just screw it in tightly. That's pretty easy. And then you'll have this one as well, and just thread the wire through it, and then we're gonna go hang it up. So when hanging up the grow light, just make sure that the side where you want to plug it in is on the right side. So the plug is over here and my socket is on this side, so I'm just going to make sure that it is on that side. What you want to do is to loop the wire over the rod and then put the wire again inside of the hole, just like that. And then at this point, you just pretty much decide what height you want the grow light to be and adjust it accordingly. I kind of want it to hang a little bit low since I'm doing it for propagations, kind of like this. So it's going to be this low, and then I'm just going to tighten it up. There I go. So now that side is hanging, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. Now I'm just going to plug it in. So over here. And here's a full look of my propagation station with the Spider Farmer SF600 Grow Light. I do have the grow light hanging on a clothing rack, and I created a makeshift two-tier shelving to put my propagations and seedlings on. And to share with you what's on the propagation station, I of course have the spider plants and the Pilea propamotes that are propagated in vermiculite, as well as some cuttings of my Hoya Crimson Queen. I have some pepper plants here that have already grown so much, so I probably need to separate them. And these are some seeds that I've been trying to germinate for the longest time, but the germination period is from 12 weeks to a year. So hopefully by placing it underneath the grow light, it would germinate a little bit faster. And here's another Pilea that I'm propagating in vermiculite, and a tomato plant and kale. I forgot what variety it is. Honestly, I already got them mixed up. And I have some basil, kind of like with a pepper. I have to separate them already. A couple more tomato plants. And these are the Pilea propamotes, baby pups that are overgrown, so they already have their root system formed. So I did plant them directly in soil, but I want them to properly adjust into their new environment, so I still place them underneath the Spider Farmer Grow Light. And so here I made a cutting from my pink syngonium, but currently I am just propagating in water along with some of my pothos cuttings. Mostly these are exoticas, but I have a bunch of different pothos cuttings here as well. Also currently in water, but I have plans for the ones that I have in water, so watch out for them in future videos. And over here is a Syngonium albo. It already has produced a couple of leaves, but as you can see, they're very tiny. And hopefully by placing them underneath the Spider Farmer Grow Light, it would produce a lot bigger leaves. And here's my Synapsuspectus exotica that I'm currently propagating through top layering. If you're not familiar with that method, I'll be happy to talk about it in future propagation videos. Just let me know down in the comments. And they have been here for a couple of days since I set this up, and so far the plants are loving it. And because the Spider Farmer SF600 Grow Light has a 120-degree beam angle and provides sun-like full spectrum light for the propagations and seedlings, I could put so many plants underneath this grow light and I still have room for more. And to be honest, even if I put some more plants down here, I'm pretty sure they'll still get enough light that they need. A couple of features I wish the Spider Farmer SF600 Grow Light has is one, that it could be dimmable, and second, that it has a built-in timer. I just used this smart plug to plug in the grow light so that it puts it on a 12-hour setting. So this one turns on by itself at 7 a.m., turns off at 7 p.m. so I don't have to come in here to turn it on and turn it back off. And as far as not being able to adjust its brightness settings, that's the reason I created a two-tier system. So the house plants or propagations that can't be too close to the light are down here, and the ones that really need that bright light are on top. And if I really do need to adjust the height of the grow light, I can easily do that with the hardware that they provided. It's very easy to make that adjustment. But right now, this Spider Farmer SF600 Grow Light is at a perfect height. You would want the distance between the top of the seedlings to the grow light to be about 12 inches or a foot. So right now it is doing well, and like I said, it's been here for a couple days, but I will give you updates on the growth of these plants in the coming weeks, so do watch out for that. So that's how I propagate pups in vermiculite. Thanks again to Spider Farmer for sponsoring today's video. If you'd like to purchase the Spider Farmer SF600 Grow Light for yourself, the link to their website as well to their Amazon listings are down in the description. And I'm also happy to announce that Spider Farmer is giving away one SF600 Grow Light to one of my subscribers. And this giveaway is open internationally. So if you're from the US, Canada, UK, France, Spain, Italy, Germany, or Australia, you can enter this giveaway. All you have to do is like this video, be subscribed to my channel, follow me and Spider Farmer on Instagram. I will have the links to our profile down in the description, and let me know down in the comments where you are watching this video from and what plants are you currently propagating, or if you have any propagation questions for me, I'll be sure to answer them in a future Q&A video. The giveaway ends on June 10th, 11:59 p.m. EST, and I'll be announcing the winner on my channel on June 17th. And I also just want to remind everyone that the paperback version of my Ultimate Guide to Pothos book is now out. I'll also be including a signed copy to the winner of the giveaway. But if you also want to purchase my book for yourself, the link is down in the description. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, I hope you subscribe. I come up with houseplants and sustainable lifestyle videos every week. And if you haven't yet, go check out these videos up here until my next one. But until then, I see you. I appreciate you. Take care of yourself and each other and have a plentiful day. Bye.